Okay, let's get this started today. Oh dear. We are name of service not known. Okay, so console service is not known. That's fine. So some of this is going to be me learning my way back through some of the. Yeah, okay, so that's the same thing as organization. Okay, so organization management. We need to go back over here. Get this, I think. Let's see if that's the same thing. What did error on me? So let's delete the pod. We're going to leave this running until it starts. There you go. Okay. We created it. And that looks like that's up and running. Okay, so that's moving. Oh, that saw me finish that. Now, CT subscriptions management is complaining about not having access to console. We're going to figure that part out. Subscriptions receivers, not subscriptions management. But one other thing that I've noticed here in going through this is everything else remains the same. So I need to bring the entire stack down once I'm good with these pieces and bring it all back up because it needs to pull the latest versions. Canny, hello. How you doing? Name or service not known. How can you not know the service? So I've done a lot of messy things the last 24 hours because I need to get this release done. So I've been merging and changing and yeah. I need to be careful. Struggling with front-end, end-to-end testing frameworks and CIs. Yeesh. Yeah, I don't envy you there. Oh, that's because that should be LS console. That should be LS Kafka. These are not. So I control and replace does not do you any good. Volume me up. So I had some database issues. I had some scripts that were missing. Let's try this. That should rip that pod out and replace it. So we get all green. I'll bring everything down and bring it all up again. Struggling in front end, Playwright and Bun and Svelte doesn't work well together. Do you know Argo CD? I do not. I installed it because I wanted to have a look at what it involved, and I just didn't have the time. So I need to pull that out. It looked like it could help me with a lot of what I'm doing here, but I'm at that point where everything's a rabbit hole. You know, if I go and look at that, then I'm going to spend weeks doing that. Yeah. How do I do that effectively? So yeah, because I want to get the development done, right? So I can get the ideas out. I can fine tune this later. Is my kind of opinion on it, but I don't know. Okay, so now we need to do Pulumi down, which will rip all these things down. because I need everything to refresh. And the only way that's going to happen is if I bring it all down or delete all the individual pods here. But let's bring the entire thing down and make sure it all come back up, because I only truly know the system's stable when I can pull it all down and restart it, because then I can deploy it to another Kubernetes box if I need to or want to. Yeah, I started looking at Argo and I'm like, oh, this could help a lot with what I'm doing, just from a management perspective. And and I just didn't have the time to continue on. I didn't understand what I needed to do and how it worked into what I had. So many things just for something like this. Deployments. Interesting that AKHQ stays around. Oh no, it's deleted. It's getting rid of AKHQ. Okay. Can't remember where I put Argo. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a specialization I do not have the brain power to deal with right a second. Okay. So the storage, the persistent claim volumes have gone, but I should not have lost all the data. Pretty sure I got that part working. And if I didn't, I'm about to be very, very upset. Let's see how this goes. This is the first time. Well, the little boxes are ramping up there. Its fans are going. You don't often notice that one. So, yeah, this is the first time I'm deploying. Oh no, that's not a good sign. The gateway being the problem. A lot of these pieces. Biobinal URI string, create client, API gateways, service collection extensions. Download that. Of all the things to not want to, I don't want to fail, the gateway is pretty much the one. So let's figure out what this is. Storing keys. Oh, I know what it'll be. Hold on. I won't have the organization management stuff in there for one, because that will be new to it. Redis. Let's have a look. So, close all these. This is an interesting challenge. Infrastructure gateway index. So the index loads the app settings from configuration. And now this is going to look very different, isn't it? Yes. App settings gateway JSON. Why are you complaining? So this needs to go to interesting network services. This needs to go to LS internal identity service. This needs to go to Redis service. Then we need to do, did I get organization management? I did get organization management. Oh, no. So there's some routes missing from this as well. So this is one of those workflows I've got to figure out what does this actually look like as I go forward, because no, I just changed it in the blinking code, didn't I? Too many things. That becomes that, and that becomes Redis service. Okay, this is valid. And now we need to add in the organization management cluster. So the clusters are up here. P there. Then this is LS Organization Management Service. Oh yeah, that'll do. So then we can add in the organization management cluster. We can add that one in. And I think that's it for organization management right now. Task route. Projects route changes to organization management. That's it. But that's not going to fix that problem, I don't think. But we'll find out when we redeploy this piece. So now if we do pulling me up again with everything up, it will be fine. Hey, Phil Schnell. How are you doing? So the intent is to programming assembler on DOS. Ooh, that sounds like fun. Okay, that's looking healthier. It's a fun, weird affair. Okay, so here we go. So when I refresh this, it should look like the newer style. Okay, let's sign in. Especially when you add the constraint that the program must be 256 bytes. So that's insane. I don't, like, can't fathom. Okay, HTTP failure response, Liquid Sky, GraphQL, 502, bad gateway. Well, that's fun, isn't it? Yeah, also that's not happy, does it? Unable to connect on Redis service 6379. Ah. So it's actually the fact that the Redis cache piece is failing here, which means that authorized. Oh no, it'll check Redis, so it will need Redis, but unable to connect on Redis service 6379 interactive network services Redis. Where are you, Redis? I see you. 6379. That's 256 bytes. I mean, we take that for granted these days, right? It's just so uh yeah. Redis service. Okay, so let's do this. Let's um um I've been playing, well, not been playing, I've been building step functions in AWS the last year or so, and I've been learning some of the failure points of it. So there's a limit on it can only run in a single step function. It can only have 25,000 state changes, right? Well, 25,000 events, and every state change could yield one or more, yeah, step functions. So step functions are kind of no code or low code solutions for creating workflows from things like lambdas and events and stuff. Um, but there's just a limit of 25,000 events that they can track. But then a single step function cannot return, or the total step function cannot return more than 256K of data. Um, yeah. The old Atari 2600 had only 128 bytes of RAM, and that included the video RAM. Yeah. They did amazing things with those games. So, yeah, it just, that seems limiting, is my point there, by the way. It's like, I'm frustrated at the limitation of that, but it's really, uh, yeah, I can't combine with my local. And what is that under? What is Redis under? Do I configure Redis? Yes, I do. That is LS storage still. So the reason I'm doing that is so I can connect to the Redis instance here. Redis. Nope. New data source. Not even here. There you go, Redis. 6381. North. But that's not yielding anything, right? But it is connecting. That's the point. On the Atari 2600, they basically had to compute the graphics ahead of the raster beam. They called it racing the beam because they didn't have enough RAM for the full screen, just half a raster beam. I mean, I've looked at enough, well, video game stuff over the years that I do know that they built a lot of technology in very clever ways using little resources. No, the light guns were timed with the beam, weren't they? So that they could predict where you would be shooting. Yeah, lots of cool innovations. Okay, so the problem here is that it's not. Let's download this one and have a look at this one in more detail. Not quite sure what I need to fix here. Morning, Delta. How are you doing? I like trackballs, but oh my goodness, did they get dirty quick. I hate it when they start feeling sluggish. Not internal identity. I told myself I was going to go to the gym or make a meal plan this morning. Instead, I wrote a blog on my blog about development. Yeah. Message timed out. Unable to connect on Redis service 6379 interactive. Initializing not started. Is this because I don't have Redis configured in the same way, or? So the audio chip on the Atari 2600 is apparently really crap, which why musicians target it thinking, I need a challenge. It is surprisingly cool music with it. Yeah. It's gonna write out some meals for the week. Yeah. Redis unable to connect. I mean, either it's a configuration or it's a I've been getting Chef's Plate for like 2 months now, so I have a stack of potential recipes. Nice. Yeah, we need to start planning some recipes out in This is kind of a blocker. If I do not get this working, this is a major blocker because this stops the entire system from working. I've been getting probably 30 different easy to cook meals. Nice. Home cooking and enjoying it can be quite relaxing. Okay, so what am I missing here? So in my local, I set my Redis connection strings Redis localhost 6379. That's all I set. And I'm using that in my transform. Actually, I'm using it in the transform provider, right? Cached internal permissions provider. So I introduce the distributed cache. So all this is distributed. This has no context of Redis. What do I set Redis? I set Redis somewhere along the line. Yeah, here you go. Redis. Add Stack Exchange Redis cache. Redis. So this has been working perfectly fine. And I set the service address for permissions. That's the internal service. And 5-minute expiration. So if you are not allowed to use the application and I block your subscription, you have about 5 minutes before it kicks you out. That's what that does. However, cluster IP 6379, target port 6379, Redis latest, Redis deployment. Let's go and look over here. So normally what I do is I try and align test, health check. Blog articles about 2-week delivery cycle versus 3-month delivery cycle based on one of the 12 principles of Manifesto. Not a bad idea. That's a solid way of doing that. Okay, so let's have a look. Redis service, Redis deployment. What do I use as an image? I don't seem to do anything as an image here, so hello. Redis latest, there we go. I use Redis Alp and Alpine's just a this message timed out in the back like attempted to send because no connection became available. Slash interactive. Does that mean that'll connect if I want to? That didn't work very well, did it? Alpine is all I could do. Okay. So if I go to localhost 6381 interactive. It knows it's doing that. I don't have any. Do I have a rule? Oh, this is where not doing this all the time is going to bite me, right? Because I'm going to have to remember things I've talked about, right? So there's no ingresses, but there could be a network policy. I'm crossing into a different service. So here, the Kafka network policy. No, that's just because I have multiple pieces in that same thing. The cross-service communication is fine. I do this all over the place, right? Because I'm accessing SQL Server from other pieces. So close. So I don't think I need a network policy on this one because there's no ingress required. It's not. The Kafka one is because the Kafka piece is communicating. They had an issue with that piece. Endpoints. Redis 6379 in LS storage. I don't see why. I mean, I know that's kind of foolish, expecting the same, a different behavior, but it's clearly, yeah, it's clearly not working, is it? So how do I get over this hump? How do I get this debugged? Like looking at the timeouts isn't going to tell me that, I suppose. So how do I identify? How do I debug a connectivity issue with inside of? Like, is it a configuration difference? Here, that's the health check. I use Alpine, whereas here I'm using latest. Is that, I don't think that should be a difference at all. A difference in the behavior, not different. Obviously, there's a difference in the image I'm using, but I mean, I can test it. Oh, I know what it is. I'm a dingling. Just dawned on me what it is. Okay, so these are just the service names. If you're not in the same namespace, you need to qualify it, right? So you need to qualify it with its name. The problem is it's resolving that. So that's LS storage. And this needs to be LS. What do I call that? Internal identity. Sorry. Yes, that's what I need to do. I need to get that namespace correct, though. I need to make sure that I'm not messing that up. So that's going to be internal identity, LS internal identity. Okay, so I need to qualify that. So if you're not in the same namespace, you have to qualify it. So I think that's what's tripping me up here. So let's try that now. No, let's do that again. 2-week, 2-month release cycles. So part of why I'm doing what I'm doing here is I really do want to try practicing this more, because I feel that 2-month release cycles, for this product at least, are more damaging because it becomes scarier to release more. Smaller incremental changes can be identified quicker and can be bug fixed much faster than a large release that has so many pieces, because you're going to be more prone to dumping fixes in there, as I have been doing the last 24 hours. Um, I haven't had anyone talking about Agile Manifesto for a long time. I feel people don't, they just associate Agile with things like Jira these days. Okay, so what is that doing? Is that still deploying the, I did change the image. See how that goes. I find people talk about it rather than the interpretation of it, rather than looking at it and trying to figure out what that idea, where that idea originated. Let's put that back to how we had Redis. Let's not mess around with that again. I had Redis perfectly working. Like people talking about release speed without citing it, kind of thing. Because I don't think people read the manifesto anymore. I think people associate Jira and tools like that with Agile, and Scrum and Agile and whatnot get merged all the time. So I think people are less considering what the manifesto was built around, and more about what that word means to them in the business sense. It's fine. Okay, so why is that not actually? Let's delete that pod. Nick, break this. Something rotten. Mm. Instead, your co-workers run. I think organizations tend to lose track. It's like the news quote: everyone is throwing in your face, but without reading the entire full things, which is much more nuanced. I mean, I've never seen it. Oh well, balanced opinion then. Why? Why are we now stuck? I've now yoinked Redis. Let's change something about the Redis. Okay, 6379. Cluster IP, Redis labels. We got the Redis labels, Redis. I don't really change very much about it. Depends on service. Parent namespace. Namespace. I've got music on, which is unusual for me as a stream because I lose concentration, but I can hear conversation in the other room, so it's very distracting. Having people home while you are used to streaming in silence is challenging. 729 times I've done this Pulumi up. Now, they've got the week off, so there are, and my daughter's up and chattering with friends and whatnot. So, okay, so that says it did it, but it didn't do it because Redis is no longer working. Yeah, Easter break, yeah. So this is still pulling Alpine. So let's delete this deployment. We need to delete the deployment. This is risky. I'd probably do better to bring the stack down and bring it all back up, but let's delete the deployment. That should remove that pod. And let's see. I don't think I have a stateful set for Redis yet, so Pulumi. Oh, it should detect that Redis isn't there and try to push it again. If this doesn't work, I'll bring the entire thing down again and then bring it up again and hope that that I got that right. Okay, are you going to work? Did that bring Redis back then? Or did that completely ignore me now? To delete the deployment. Uh-oh. Okay, it's that time. Not good old time. Pulumi down. So they're going to bring the entire stack down. Not really something I like to do. But I suppose practicing this is going to be pulling me down. I know I can do the dash F. I really want the confirmation though. going to perform this destroy, yeah. Come on. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. This takes a long time. So to get this deployed, I had to do a lot of moving things around, getting images built. I figured I'd do that off stream. I think it's far more interesting to show the outcome rather than the grind. But hopefully. This is it. I think we're close. I think it's very close. Once this is working, the goal will be verify, test, and then open it up. If Redis doesn't come back now, I'm baffled. But if you are new to the stream, if you have questions, thoughts, opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to join in the conversation. I'm happy to talk about what I'm doing. Right now, it's a little slow because I am at a point of non-development or deploy. 1 second. Okay. Did that up and run. That says everything's up and running. So here we go. One more try. I'm watching the status on the other side. So when it works, it's loading the data. So this is going to need loading screens and all sorts here. Although I think that's timing out. But let's go check the gateway. Let's see if the gateway request is going through this time. Yep, that's actually going to the endpoint. So this is initializing an application. Let's see, did I lose any data in my... I don't want to open Godot. Let's get rid of you from my unpin from taskbar. As much as I would love to play with Godot, there is only so many hours in a day. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so according to this, I haven't lost data. That request is still pending. So the request went through. LS planning. Queries are happening. Systems are talking. Oh, what is a 524? Timeout occurred. Oh. That was a Cloudflare timeout. Cloudflare specific HTTP status code. Oh. So that's what it should look like. Okay, so let's do this again. Let's clear that out. Oh, Cloudflare is not liking this. The only thing is, it showed that it hit the GraphQL endpoint before, and it did work before. So, log in. Let's try that. Scratch. Firefox. How do you turn off this? Hide weather. Or turn off use. And shortcuts, there you go. That's all I care about. Liquid sky.software. Okay, so we go to there. So it loaded the new client. The new client is definitely there. It's not in full production mode, but it is condensed. So what I'm trying to do is log into my existing account so I can validate data first, and then we'll go through the registration process. So that's interesting. So Cloudflare. Ooh. I haven't been checking the numbers. Okay, that's fine. Tunnel traffic, network. WebSockets are permitted. Yeah, see, it's just Cloudflare is just timing out on the application. I don't know why. Overview. I am not activating. So if I refresh this now, what we'll see is see the post to GraphQL. And if we go to here, to the gateway, we can see, oh, that did error. Okay. Well, hold on. Executed endpoint GraphQL, start processing, get LS internal identity service. Oh, is it timing out in the service and then it's showing that as that? Oh, do I not have populated? I do not have populated user permissions. So that's going to fail because it doesn't have a user. Oh, that's interesting. What does that look like for me? Yeah. So that's a migration problem. And that's a challenge because the tool is not in great place for this piece, considering what it's got to pull here. So this has to pull a tenant and user with a permission identifier and yeah, a permission ID, sorry. This has a unique identifier. Yeah. And I think I'm missing some tables in here. I am missing some tables. So this is going all sorts of wonky. From a migration perspective, I am missing scripts, view, migration, views. Yeah, there's other tables missing here, such as this. Not the end of the world, but it's still not ideal. Permissions. Sprints is there, that's good. User permissions, that's not going to be there if the other one isn't there, so. Tenant subscriptions. Yeah. Initiatives. Nope, initiatives not there. Well, I did not do stunning at this part, did I? So I'm missing a ton of tables. So I thought I got on top of creating the migration pieces. So as it gets new, yeah. So that should be the same as this. There should be 20 tables. We got 20 tables. Okay. So now the challenge here is, so the way that the new system's set up, the way the new changes come in, the tenant has to have a subscription for it to be valid, and then the user has to have all the right permissions. So to get that, I need to pull. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. No, no, that close that. That doesn't go there. That goes there. I need to go over. Yeah, I need that, but I need that over there. Right. I don't want that tab there. Okay. So I need users. We have tenant users. We have tenant subscriptions. So we need tenant subscriptions, user permissions. Permissions needs to be populated. So let me pull that back. Let me pull Liquids Guy back over here. So Liquids Guy, permissions. You can see I already have the list. This ultimately is something we need to make triggered when we add new permissions to the system so that they automatically get inserted into the right pieces, whether it be a Kafka event, a Kafka stream that publishes them to the rest of the system. Let's do this. I thought I'd done some of this, which is why I thought this was just going to work. So that's not stunning. So now with that in place, I can do insert into user permissions, and then user permissions is going to have a tenant ID, a user ID, a permission ID, and they added and then we'll do select new ID, comma, from tenant users, TU, join users on TU dot user ID equals u.id. So we're going to pull in the tenant users. That's going to give us the tenant ID, the user ID. How do I do this now? I've done this query recently. I was all proud of myself for this query. It's permissions one. Can't believe I messed up permissions so badly there. That's frustrating. Yeah. Cross join permissions. P. So let's do tu.id. Oh no, tu.tenant ID. Afternoon, I'm a geek. u.id, p.id, get UTC date. Hello. Oh, it's showing down here. That should be all users have all permissions. And we have the different tenants in there. Okay, so that's fine. Insert into. Okay, so then we should have user permissions. There we go. Cool. Okay, with user permissions in place, I now need to select. How's it going? It's going rough. I pushed the deployment. I've got the deployment working, but I realized that my method of managing the SQL scripts and what is new after a release is busted. So I'm going to change that shortly. But it's not the end of the world. So from user permissions is going to contain identifier, tenant ID, user ID, permission ID. So what we do is we join back all these tables and get their identifiers, and I can take that table and put that in here in this version. Right. So I just got to make sure right now. I've got to make sure I am building these things in the right place. Because what I've just realized is that there's a very distinct chance that I could end up yeah, there you go. Okay, so we did do that. That's fine. So we want identifier, and then we want to join tenants t on up dot tenant ID equals t dot ID. Join users u on up dot user ID equals u dot ID. Join permissions p on up dot permission ID equals p dot ID. Except that's not going to work. Because the permission ID there is not the same permission ID. Ugh. This permission ID here is this permission here, which, because of the way I did it, likely aligns. So I think I'm going to rely upon that fact for right this second. And this identifier here, if I'm right, matches. So if we do 8964 permission ID 4, 89 DB3, I think that should be the same as 89 DB3 there. So that's the same permission. Okay, so I'm going to get away with something here, but only because. So that's the user permission identifier. Then I take the t dot identifier, the u dot identifier, and the p dot ID. It will coincidentally align, right? Not coincidentally. It's going to align because I've inserted the same set of permissions in the same databases. So we take this. Copy that. And then go up to this one. No. Again, wrong database. It's going to keep tripping you up. You add there. Paste that in there. Oh, no. Add that there. Paste that in there. That didn't paste properly. Let's write that again. User permission. So we do select up.identifier t.identifier u.identifier p.id from user permissions join tenants t on up. Tenant ID equals t.id join users u. So what this does is it just kind of highlights the fact that I've got some challenges still as far as how to do proper migrations, how to do data updates, just from a workflow perspective. Join permissions p on up dot permission ID equals ID. I'm only joining it just to make sure. So that'll be that, but then we do get etc date. That's date added. Okay, so let's copy them again. Rows. What's happening is when I'm going to log in, the identity system is being queried for my user. My user doesn't exist there, or rather the permissions don't exist for this user that I'm providing it, and it's just kind of hanging. I'm hoping that with this in here, it will save properly. Okay, so we've got the permissions, we've got the user permissions. If they're wonky, they're wonky, but we'll find out. And considering what I just did, I should probably save that query. When you add a new user, all this flow creates. So if the system was fresh, I'd be fine here. The system isn't fresh. So that is why I am where I am. So let's try that once more. Liquid Sky. Let's try closing that down. Gotta clean all this up. It's just not. Oh, Firefox, that's why. Okay. Let's go over here and check on the gateway. No, still no problem. No, still no work. So it's timing out. Is that what the problem is? Is it actually just timing out? 94 seconds. Identity, LS identity, service, authorize. Let's have a look and see if it's actually hitting the other side. Deployments, pods. So LS identity, internal identity deployment is LS internal identity. Let's check on that service. Services LS internal identity service. Right. That is this deployment, which is this, which is up and running. So let's go back to that gateway. And it errored. The request timed out before receiving a response. So the service is, one second, I'll be right back. Okay. Oh, so close. So close. So the permissions thing was a thing, right? There was no doubt the permissions were missing. Um, I'm not. I'm not thinking those were about change. That was necessary. The problem, however, is this service, the service that backs this, or this backs rather, is starting fine. This request to that service is timing out. So that comes from, we go to the gateway, right? So the gateway is configured via this file, right? So our service address for identity is lsinternalidentityservice.lsinternalidentity.service.cluster.local. This is how you communicate between services inside of Kubernetes, right? You have to namespace it. The internal identity I set up as ls internal identity. That is the namespace. And then I have the API, which has everything else configured. Now this doesn't need internal, but we'll worry about that afterwards. I'm not using console for service discovery, but that's still identity, internal identity API. That should still change. Now these aren't the regular app settings. These are changed app settings for that purpose. It doesn't look like this piece is timing out. It doesn't look like this piece is having issues. And I believe that the path I'm giving it is correct. Let's just change that one piece. Won't make a difference, but I just want to see it come up. Pulumi. For some reason, I can't spell Pulumi. Now, let's assume I'd made a monolith here. Such an overused word. If I made a monolith of this application, would this be going smoother? Yeah, 100%, because it would be deployed. There would be less moving parts. There'd be less services and stuff. But the debugging of issues happening in there would be much harder. Because I wouldn't know about configuration. I wouldn't know if I was missing database tables necessarily. It would be giving me its own set of problems. Would I be ahead of where I am now? Yes, absolutely. I would be ahead. I'll consider it. But yeah, it's there's definite challenges that I'm introducing by doing it this way, but that doesn't mean I should be scared of doing it this way, right? Because it's hard should not be a reason why we don't do something. What does this give me down the line? Well, this gives me the ability to replace any of these components. This gives me the ability to update these components. It gives me the chance to break out pieces without major impact on the rest of the system. The advantages far outweigh these pains. And again, if I get this where I want to get it, if I get this into the hands of people, then those problems are lessened by the fact that other people would be working on this piece. So how do I resolve that? How do I validate this piece? I can get onto this machine, but I do not have ping. I can check to see what the gateway looks like. So LS Organization Management Service, LS Organization Management. So yeah, service name and identity, and then a namespace. So LS Internal Identity Service, LS. So I call it Identity Service. This is a naming problem. This is authorization. This is purely like what you can do above who you are. See, this worked. Redis service ls storage.svc cluster.local. So why is this timing out? That's not. No, it's not an HTTP. It's not an HTTPS difference. That was poor. So if I go to internal identity and we look here, fast endpoint started, registered one endpoint. That's the authorized endpoint. Now listening on, whoa. Now listening on 8080. That would be a problem. Why are you listening on 8080? What? Identity. Why? Target port 8080. Oh no. Okay. The cluster IP is 80. Okay. Okay. So internally it's 8080. But the cluster IP. Okay. So if I go to network services, LS internal identity service. Yeah. Port 80. Okay. So forwards to 8080 there. Okay. That's fine. So yeah, this service at this namespace is on port 80. So that's fine. So again, here, right, that's that piece, and that's that piece. There was no typos there. So why is that timing out? How do I validate it? That's internal identity started. You are listening. There is no issues. How? How do I say? So I genuinely don't know how I validate this. It's not an 80. So the service is listening on 80. So as long as I've got that namespace, so the configuration here is fine because it will go to HTTPS 80. Right behind the service facade, I suppose. The pod is listening on 8080. It's navigating to that, so it's diverting traffic. Because the concept is a service is a service. It's load balanced itself, so you can put as many pods behind that service as you want. Is the way I'm understanding this. So you talk to a service, you don't talk to, okay, and I know which pod. We are definitely in a different namespace. This is now working. This was erroring before, so that's the right thing to do here. I clearly do have that because these do. Ah, there we go. Why are you? They're all HTTP. It offloads HTTPS. That's why. Halloumi up. It offloads the HTTPS because there's no certificates behind. So when I said there was no problem with it, that's technically correct, but yes, it does not deploy as HTTPS. Fingers crossed. Here we go. That restarted. Oh, we get a response. Rendering, come on. Please. Yeah, the current user is not authorized to access this resource. Come on. No storage. Delete all session cookies. Delete all. The current user is not authorized to access this resource. What do you mean? How am I not access to authorize this resource? Apollo error. Hmm. Am I actually getting a back of 401 from my own system? No, I'm getting a 200. So there we go. It's allowing the GraphQL. The GraphQL. I sound like an old person. I'm using the internet. Request finished. 200. Yeah. We got our user permissions. No instant. Yeah, okay. Okay. This is rough. This is very rough. Let's see if that gives me the same. I just want to see the Liquid Sky software. Okay, so this console, the current user is not authorized to access this resource. The current user is not authorized to access this resource. What does that even mean? Okay, I know I can read. I'm not saying I don't understand what the current user, but I mean from a software standpoint, it's not something I've seen. Um, I know what it is. Of course. So part of this release, I replaced the authorization, right? So we're using our own internal authorization. So those tokens, I would bet if I go to view, if I go to the GraphQL piece and I go here, see how it's got auth 0? We're not using auth 0. We're using internal auth. The same thing is going to count for every single thing here, right? Uh, this one needs auth 0 because tenant management does do some interaction with auth 0. But the rest of them, I am 99% certain. The API planning, I did that one. This one should be valid. Yep, that's valid. Identity is valid because so identity does auth 0. Basically, what's happening is this authority is validated. So when you log in and you have that JWT, the request is authenticated against the authority. So what's happening is I'm passing in a token that I've built internally, and the auth 0 is being passed that and being told, whoa, 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 this doesn't match. So I'm not allowed, right? Communications API, I don't think. Okay. Let's make sure that that has internal auth on it. So ultimately, oh, that's going to break. That's going to break. That's not what I want to do. Internal auth. No, it should be fine. It should be fine because it's actually not. I'll go into that in a second if it works. If it doesn't work, I'm still struggling, right? Let's see if that changes that behavior. So obviously what this is highlighting is there's a lot of things that I've done have changed over the last 4 to 5 months that just I have not benefited from this long release schedule. Um, So because of the release cycle, because of the changes I've made, like the introduction of these things is now again, it's that the Dota was mentioning it earlier about the release, like 2 week versus 2 month release. I'm suffering from having too many changes in one go, and I've not figured out what that deployment looks like as I've gone. So the question there is, how do I make that better? How do I change my practices accordingly to facilitate a better release schedule next time, a better release cycle next time? Okay, so it's just broken. Unexpected execution error. So Firefox seems to give a little bit of a quicker indication that there's a problem internally. But for that, I do not know. But we have changed the error. I'm not sure that's necessarily the greatest thing in the world, but we have changed the error. If I go to pods, view GraphQL now, we should see a different problem. Yeah. Invalid object name user profiles view. Okay, so there we go. Let's go see if we can get user profiles view and get that in there. So views, user profiles view. So did I not create these? No, clearly not. Let's create. So ls view, dbo table of views. Yeah, I did not do these things. Oh, they add columns onto user. Add. I really change users. Oh, yes, I did. Oh, dear. So see this? The table doesn't have them on. So let's just add them on. I'm modify table, new column, date added. So obviously this isn't exactly how I want it to go, right? This is not something I wanted to be doing. Hacking tables in on what is essentially my production system at the time. Oh, something is monitoring that keyboarding, but it does not like that. This cannot be no. No, that one can't be no. No, that one can't be no. This can't be daytime. And this needs a default then because get etc date. Okay, so let's add them in. That should solidify that piece. What I'll do is I'll share kind of a retrospective of this after the fact, right? So go through what went well, what failed, you know, just go through an actual retrospective of why this was not as smooth as I wanted it to be. So I'm just ordering something. Releases don't always go well. Releases don't always go the way you intend. Invalid column initiative ID. So that's awesome. So I'm missing a planning item change as well. Add planning item. I thought I'd run these scripts. This is this is what's confusing. I thought I'd ran these scripts previously, so that's fixing that one. Let's do that because let's assume that's not there. Yeah. Let's do this one because I assume that's not there. Okay, let's close all them. Initiatives view, let's try that again. Okay, that works now. Planning item dependencies view, let's try that one. Yep, that was missing. So do we have 18, what do we have? 18 views. LS view, DBO, 18 views, 20 tables. Okay. So let's try a refresh again and see what happens. Oh, we got there. Okay, so we finally got into the application. Almost 2 hours later, we got there. However, subscription works. So the problem is here, I won't be able to do very much. Right? I can't leave. I can enter. I can go into these panels. I can do things here, potentially. Even that shouldn't work, by the way. But I'm an administrator, so I'm being diverted here. The problem is that I have no valid subscription, and this is the piece that we needed to work before we could go live with this version. The flow of this now. Tenant subscriptions has no records in it. What we need to do here is create a subscription in this table and a tenant. That's just a tenant identifier. So we'll create the records in here, and then we'll create the subscriptions for them in here, and then we'll create them in here, because I'm going to hand create the data. But in reality, when the application's flowing, there's no point building a tool or something fancy for this, because the reality is, I should have developed the deployment scripts to onboard. So the key thing there is, from a retrospective perspective, what I need to do is I need to say, okay, I'm developing this feature, but identify, document, and outline the steps required to change the actual running system with those things. So yes, it will increase the work, but I do need to make sure that I do that, because this is not a healthy release by any stretch of the imagination, and there's a high risk that I will have future problems because of this. And the only way of knowing this would be to wipe the system out. Now, in the long term, that's actually a valid option. Right? Because you shouldn't release. Ryan, thank you very much for the raid. Appreciate it. Hope you are well. How was your stream? Danny, hello. Again. Box, welcome in. Hello, hope you're doing well. I'm running late for the bus. I need to dip quickly. No worries. Take care. Thank you very much for the raid, and I hope you catch a bus. Okay, so we are going to create a subscription for each of these. Right? So if you are just joining me today, I am developing my project management and platform application today. And I have just done setting a different way to send over the camera. Good old Python, OpenCV and TCP. Oh, wow. Cool stuff. Thank you very much, Ryan. Take care. Catch that bus. What I've just been doing is I've been deploying this throughout the course of the stream to Kubernetes. It's a distributed system, right? So it's not been going very well. I have missed things. I have data missing. I have not made migration scripts where I should have done. I've done better in the past. I'll be honest. Subscriptions, identifier, tenant ID. Yeah, this is not my finest moment. Select new ID, comma, ID from tenants. Get UTC date. Okay, that should create me subscriptions. So subscriptions exist there now. However, they don't exist over here. Right. So now we need to flip that a bit and do this. Select ID, tenant ID, comma, identifier, comma, date added. Oh my goodness me. From subscriptions. So we're going to do that. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to add that in there. I'm going to paste that in there, save that. Okay, now if we refresh, we should be able to navigate out. And there we go. That's worrying. Come on. Oh. Tables, I mean, foreign keys. No. Foreign keys are something I actually don't mess around with too much. Okay, so that's semi-working. This should have displayed data though, because this is actually my real user. That's worrying. Yeah, it's not fully functional. Projects is working, users is not. So I'm missing stuff all over the place. Foreign keys are a refinement for later when I understand. So I'm using Entity Framework. You know, I can add indexes on the right things. Foreign keys will give me trouble with deleting things, with cleaning things up, especially if I introduce migrations. That's going to become a challenge. So foreign keys I kind of see as a thing, and they don't change performance. They don't give you any more performance over just a join. It just makes it harder to delete things unnecessarily. Hash replace requirement. So what am I missing here now? So I'm clearly missing some pieces, right? So let's go to the pods. Let's go to the GraphQL side and see if we're missing any. Yes, we are. Invalid column, date added for what table? So I clearly added our users view. We are running out of time. So users view. Go here. Alter that. There is already an object name, users view. Okay, that's fine. But does it contain all the right fields? No, it does not. Okay. So alter view. There you go. We have users. This is not the way I wanted to do this, by the way. This is not how I envisioned this. Invalid column initiative ID. On what? I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Okay. Invalid column initiative ID. So that will be planning. So the GraphQL side uses primarily views to get the data. So I'm pretty confident that what I'm missing here is I'm missing entire views. Planning item dependencies view, planning items view. So I am missing that entire thing. So what I've not done is I've not appropriately tackled the migration aspect. And what I need to do next time is come up with a structure here that will allow me to understand what changed since you last released. So I think that the next release will be not as long. Alter view. Okay. Yes. Okay, now let's see if this is really bad. So, ready for planning, introduce teams. Boo. This is not a very good way. This is not a very sound way of figuring out invalid column name estimate, invalid column name ID. This is not a very sound way of figuring out what the changes are you made. The stumble through, because I could leave something lying out there that just doesn't mean anything. So this is not a stunning example of what you should be doing. However, I have little choice as to getting this working right now. Again, I could wipe out the system. I could wipe out the system and rebuild the database from all the scripts. But I don't want to do that. A, because we've put a lot of work in there already. B, I want to be able to allow people who've already logged into the system the chance to log in. But I'm running out of time for today. So select from planning items view, requirements view, requirements view, requirements view, requirements view. I think that's one I actually changed, is it not? No, I changed include total estimate. Alter requirements view. I did alter it, yes. Filters, ready for planning. Requirements. There you go. Oh, come on. You're no fun. Task is not a function. Okay, well, we almost made it. It's almost there. We at least got to requirements. So, what do I need to do next? Comments are working. That's funny. It just breaks. Is it a side effect of data? Can I get it working? It is a side effect of data. Tasks view. Let's do task view. Invalid colony assigned user ID on tasks. Ah. That's interesting. Add estimate, assigned user. Yeah, that would have been good, wouldn't it? So close. So close. There we go. Okay, that's better. Okay. So, here we go. So what's next? Next is for me to go through the system and add things, do things. So right now, this is our current planning, right? So this is the updated UI. It's deployed. It is there. So if you are an existing user of Liquid Sky, if you've done this before, you should be able to log in and see things in the new style, right? No pressure there. What I want to do is over the next 24 hours, I want to go through, verify behaviors, because we've got some tasks to add. We've got, I think we can now move prepare for next release as being done. All right. Well, yeah, that they kind of shift. I need to figure out a way of moving these because they can't be done. I think actually when I complete the sprint, it will remove them and move them back. Yeah, we have some testing to do, but it's there. It's deployed. It's looking better. We no longer have to look at all that blue. So I will continue the testing of this, build this out, and see where we go from there, because that was tougher than I wanted it to be. So anyway, we will keep things moving along. We're going to go see maybe today. I'm going to stop playing music because it's driving me crazy. It is Wednesday, isn't it? That means One Line will be streaming later today, hopefully. Bit presumptive of me to assume you will be, but it is Wednesday. If you like .NET development, if you like watching .NET development, which you haven't watched for the entire of this stream, but it's fine. One Line is a fantastic streamer, very worth checking out. Okay. However, that will be me for now. Well, let's go raid maybe. I will continue to test this and get some of these things up and running. It looks like I'm not missing too much now. I have some ideas already, and I'll reflect on those things and see about how do I clean this up for future usage, because there's a lot of challenges with what we just did there. But yeah, so let's go raid maybe. I'm down to 900 warnings to the DDD master repo to clean up before I'll be from more than 5,000 warnings. Yeah, I had Liquid Sky had 1,000 warnings 2 weeks ago, and I've been kind of cleaning things up, changing things, so we're down to 156. But thank goodness this. I ended the stream on a success. To me, this is success. Seeing the application in its new form on Liquid Sky software, allowing you guys, if you want to go in and tinker with it. I will test sign up later on. Sign up may or may not work, but it should do. control tower pieces are there. So we'll have to validate that. I will also open the Discord channels to open feedback now. So hopefully we can start getting some actual testing done. But anyway, I will be back tomorrow with more of this. Well, actually, more development tomorrow. But for now, let's go raid maybe. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks all. Have a great day. Bye, Napalm. Bye, Napalm.